What is up, gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode. On today's episode, we have a topic that is near and dear to my heart, and this is the importance of body language as a man to influence others and to project the version of yourself that you wish to project. When it comes to the way that we communicate with people, there's a tremendous percentage of that is non-verbal. What you say is probably less important than how you say it and how you present yourself when you're saying it. So what are these points? And I'll get right into it without further ado. Number one is how you enter the room. Think of the last time you entered the room in which you didn't know most of the people there. It's a very nerve-wracking experience because you're wondering how you're being perceived by other people. The second you get into your head about what others think of you is the second you fall out of your center. So when you enter a room, do so with confidence. Do so with a straight spine, with a chin that's held up high, and with shoulders that are rolled back. All of this is an indicator of dominance and presence in any room that you walk into. It's something that you have to build up time and time again. And as you gain value in this world and as you build yourself as a person, what you do is you're able to approach any scenario in which they're strangers in a way with more confidence, because you no longer go from what are these people thinking about me to what do I think about these people. Number two has to do with both how you sit and how you stand. When you sit, there's two key positions that you should be considering. Number one is when you sit, definitely never do so hunched over. Always keep your spine straight. Be attentive, roll your shoulders back. If there's someone in front of you, there's two key ways to sit. What I like to do is I will cross my legs, I'll take up space, usually with my hands out if I have a table, and I will lean slightly back. Of course, I won't lean too backwards. Probably that's an indicator of obviously being too attentive, which is a sign of submission, or being too laid back, which is a sign of sloven laziness, which we don't want here. So what we want is the right balance of both. When it's time to put the other person as them vying for your attention or your approval, lean back a little bit. Be a little bit more relaxed, be a bit more casual, but take up the space. When the person in front of you has said something that interests you, you can reward that with a little bit of a lean in forward, right? You're being a bit more attentive to the person that is in front of you. These things are minor, but when you stack them up, what happens is that you're able to build an arsenal that is powerful. Then moving into how you stand. Think of the person that stands, number one, maybe with their back against the wall, or maybe they stand in a corner. So where you stand in a room also has a big indicator of how you're projecting yourself. If you're someone who's going to shy away into the corner, this is probably not really much of an indicator of how you perceive yourself. So definitely when you're speaking to people, consider standing in the middle if that's something that is viable in that situation. Don't be afraid to take up the space that you need to. Don't be afraid to show yourself. Don't be afraid to put yourself in the middle or the center of attention. There's nothing wrong with that if that's something that you strive towards. Also, when you stand, try not to stand with your legs too close in, right? What you want to do is you want to be able to stand from a position of power, position of stability, a foundation of strength. Stand with your legs shoulder width apart. Think of any sort of, let's just say, military press or dumbbell press or any form of physical exercise, whether you're boxing or whether you're kickboxing. You're always standing in a position of strength, and that's usually with your legs shoulder width apart. This is where you want to be, and this is how you want to present yourself. Number three is probably the most important point on the list, and this is your ability to hold and to maintain eye contact, and to do so in a way that's proper and acceptable to the situation. So I want to start off by saying that eye contact is perhaps one of the most important ways that you project yourself and the way that you actually assert yourself into any scenario. Think of the eyes. Think of any conversation you're having with someone. He or she who has shifty eyes is usually an indicator of someone we cannot trust. This is a biological wiring from years and centuries of hardwiring. The person who cannot look you straight into the eyes is typically someone that has ulterior motives, or even if they don't, it is an indicator of someone that could have ulterior motives. Believe it or not, this is just the way that we're wired. So when you speak to someone, look them in the eye. Do so in a way that is calm, chill, peaceful, confident. Don't pierce their eyes. I'm not saying to just stare at someone, right? It's kind of weird. There's this interesting balance between confident eye contact and being able to move it away when you need to move it away, right? Let's just say you're thinking or you're making another point. There, it's acceptable to be able to break eye contact momentarily to bring it back. Obviously, when you're breaking eye contact, left or right, up, never down. Again, these things may seem minor, but the way that you perceive and the way you are perceived will go a long way. You need to give yourself every single advantage in the book. So when you're speaking to someone, have those sticky eyes and be able to maintain eye contact for around 70 to 80% of the conversation. This is a skill that you can build up over time. And as you actually achieve and to build your value as a person. As you begin to go out into the world and to get many successes under your belt, the ability to maintain and to retain eye contact will become simpler and simpler until it becomes second nature and you can no longer undo it. Number 4 on the list is to use open hand gestures when you speak. Why is this something that has such an effect on being likable and actually attracting and keeping people's attention to you? Well, number 1 is it allows you to vary up what you're saying. Think of the composer in the orchestra. He uses his hands to flow the symphony, right? To mix and match and to mesh all the instruments in the symphony together. The same is true about your voice. Your voice is an instrument, and you use your hands to vary the tonality, to vary the rhythm. This allows you to project your points in a way that's more exciting, that's more poignant, that's more, let's just say, easy to capture. At the same time, this has a historical connotation. Think of the last time that you've been out in public, right? Let's just say it's nighttime and you see someone wearing a hoodie. They have their hood up and they have their hands in their pocket. The inability to see what is in this person's hands is an indicator that this person might be a foe. Whether you are consciously perceiving this or not, this is just something that your biological nature brings up to the surface, and it's just a gut feeling reaction. The same is true when you're communicating with people. Never have your hands in your pockets. Never have your hands too much behind your back. They can be, right, a certain position like this can be a sort of confident position, but overly doing one of too many things is always a negative. So try to keep your hands out. Try to keep them exposed in a way that allows you to communicate effectively and to create a verbal flow that's more interesting and more engaging to the people that are in front of you. Number 5 has to do with your speech, and this is actually to slow down and to pause your speech. What effect does it have when you're able to slow down your speech? Most people think that in order for me to get my point across, I need to speak quickly, because this arises from a lack of self-confidence that what I'm saying is actually worth listening to. So I'm going to say it as fast as possible so that people don't tune out. But when you have the confidence and the ability to slow down your speech, what you're saying to the person in front of you is, listen, I know you're going to be listening, and I have zero doubts about that. So I'm going to say what I need to say, and I'm going to emphasize it when I need to emphasize it. And this is the power of slowing down your speech. At the same time, slowing down your speech allows you and gives you the time to actually think about what you're saying. And that way the value of the words that you have to say becomes much more robust, as opposed to just saying something that makes no sense or that has no bearing or no value. When you slow down your speech, you're able to construct beautiful sentences that are concise, that are precise, and that are to the point and get exactly what you want to get across. Number 6 is to avoid fidgeting at all costs and to move slowly when you do move. What is fidgeting, and why is fidgeting something you should definitely avoid? Fidgeting in my book, right? This is the kind of person that is playing with their hands too much, or they're biting their nails, or they're playing with their ears, or whatever it is. Typically, this is anxiety that is coming up to the surface and is manifesting itself in a way that is visual. The easiest way to present yourself as someone who is in their heads or self-conscious is to overly fidget. This may seem difficult in the beginning, and it's twofold. You have to practice it out of your system, and you need to build yourself up fundamentally in life and to do things that are worth and that have a value to them that you can call back to subconsciously, that give you the confidence to approach life. And at the same time, slow down your movements. When you create a movement that is too quick, or it's jerky, or it's a knee-jerk reaction, again, you can just tell the kind of person that seems off. They're the person that twitches. They're the person that makes sudden movements. And again, we're wired to subconsciously call out these people and to look at them as being out of the ordinary in a negative connotation way. So someone who moves slowly. This is someone who has a sense of calm and peace. This is someone who is in tune with their emotions, their actions, and their thoughts. So train yourself to move slowly and train yourself to cut out any form of fidgeting from your body. I don't want to see any nail biting. I don't want to see any hand fidgeting. I don't want to see any weird tics. All these things allow you to build up a more confident version of yourself. Number 7 is the power of selective smiling. Smiling is incredibly powerful. Use your smile and give it the value that it deserves. Don't be one of those people that never smiles. Don't be a bore. the same time, don't be one of those people that looks dopey and all they do is smile. Oh, life is so happy and everyone is so good, right? It's just a weirdness to it. The extreme of any one side is too much. You use your smile selectively to connect with people. Typically what I will do, especially when I'm sitting down with someone that maybe I'm getting to know or someone that I'm in the process of knowing better and better, what I'll do is I'll use my smiles in a very specific way to indicate that this person has just done something that is a positive in my book. Believe me, when you use your smiles and when you create a value for your smile, and that the person in front of you feels that they've earned that smile, they will value that smile so much more than any smile they've ever received in their life. It's because most people don't really know how to present themselves in a way that can attract people, right? That can gravitate people towards them. What I'll do when I'm meeting someone for the first time, I may crack a very simple and very honest small smile just to break the ice, to indicate to this person that I'm not a foe, I'm a friend. But from there, as we get into conversation, this may be a very neutral look. I'm neither angry nor am I sad. I'm neutral. I'm evaluating. I'm observing this person. And if they say something I like, then I will reward that with a smile. What that does is it creates a tick or a light bulb moment in this person's mind. And what they do is they continuously try to do more of that action in order to get the same reaction. Believe it or not, this stuff actually works. And the next time, I would highly recommend you try it out. Number 8 is to speak from your lungs and to vary the tonality of your speech. Why should you speak from your lungs? Number 1, you should never speak from your nose. That's going to create a nasally voice that's very high pitched and honestly is not a trustworthy voice at all. Think of the most confident orators that you've ever heard, right? There are people that have powerful, bellowing voices, voices that are able to project a distance, whether they're speaking in a large room or a small room. The ability to speak from your lungs allows you to project your voice with more bass, with more depth, with more authority. This, again, is something that you build up over time. It's something that you practice. It's something that I personally practiced. It's something that I've been practicing since the start of my original YouTube channel with Fit Design TV. If you compare what my voice sounded like 2 years ago and what it sounds like today, this is the process of conscious decisions, improvements in my diet, improvements in my lifestyle, my sleep, to actually achieve a voice that is worth listening to. And it's always a work in progress. On the flip side, vary your tonality. Think of your voice as an instrument. It's the most beautiful instrument that God has given you. When you speak, you want to captivate people. When you speak, you want to get your points across in a way that can encourage people, can inspire people to action. You don't want to maintain a monotonality. A monotonality would sound like this. You don't want to maintain a monotonality. Monotonality is very bad because, right, it loses all of the efficacy of it. When you have tonality, when you use moments where you pause, where you slow down your speech, this creates variety in your voice that keeps people hooked and allows you to emphasize certain points of your speech. Guys, treat your voice like an instrument, cultivate it, and learn to play it beautifully.